Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US Marines were seen unloading trucks and heavy equipment at a Caribbean port, part of an ongoing military build-up in the region. Footage shows armored vehicles and gear being moved off ships, with Marines disembarking in large numbers. This deployment follows months of US pressure on Venezuela, including strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats, threats of military action, and the designation of the Cartel de los Soles as a foreign terrorist group. In an interview with Politico, US President Donald Trump has refused to rule out a ground invasion of Venezuela, warning that President Maduro's days are numbered. Trump also expanded the scope of the war on drugs, suggesting both strikes could target Mexico and Colombia. These comments come after months of US military strikes against alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and Pacific. While Trump calls it a war against narco-terror, the strikes have faced growing criticism both at home and internationally, with experts warning of potential violations of international law. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says her country plans to send more water to the United States, but not immediately. President Donald Trump has threatened to raise tariffs on Mexican imports if the water is not delivered. Sheinbaum says Mexico is proposing a delivery this month, with more releases in the coming years, and that the plan will be discussed in a virtual meeting with US officials today. Mexico is behind on its Rio Grande water deliveries due to drought and pipeline limits. Trump says Mexico has a 5-year water debt affecting Texas farmers and demands 200,000 acre-feet to be released before December 31st, warning tariffs will rise if it isn't. Dozens of protesters marched in Oslo, gathering outside the Nobel Institute to voice their opposition to the Peace Prize being awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, holding banners reading "No Peace Prize for Warmongers." They rallied against the decision. At least one student was killed and another critically injured in a shooting at Kentucky State University. The shooting has prompted a campus lockdown. Police in Frankfurt said the suspect is in custody and authorities confirm there is no ongoing threat. The critically injured student is stable and the university is offering counseling and support services. Governor Andy Beshear called the shooting an isolated incident, urging prayers for the affected families and the university community. Demolition is underway at Washington, D.C.'s RFK Stadium, the former home of the Washington Commanders. The team announced in September that they intend to return to the site for their new stadium. In November, the White House described it as a beautiful to name the new stadium after President Donald Trump, following reports that an intermediary told the Commanders' ownership that Trump wants the stadium to carry his name. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has expressed readiness to hold new elections, but only if the country's parliament amends the law and foreign allies provide security. Zelensky's comments came as he prepares to send revised proposals to Washington on ending the war. US President Donald Trump is pressuring Kyiv to accept a deal which has faced criticism for being too favorable to Russia. While Zelensky acknowledged that elections are a matter for the people of Ukraine, he also stated he would ask lawmakers to consider changes to election laws during martial law. Hamas has stated that the Gaza ceasefire plan cannot move to its second phase as long as Israeli violations continue, calling on mediators to pressure Israel to uphold the agreement. The ceasefire, in effect since October 10th, remains fragile, with both sides accusing each other of breaches. Hamas political bureau member Hossam Badran accused Israel of failing to reopen the Rafah crossing and increase aid to Gaza, as stipulated in the first phase. He urged mediators, including Egypt, Qatar, and the US, to ensure Israel complies with the terms of the deal. Yemen's main southern separatist group, the Southern Transitional Council, has claimed broad control across the south, including the strategic port city of Aden. Senior figures from other groups, including the head of the 8-member body acting as president and the prime minister, have reportedly left the city. The STC, previously backed by the United Arab Emirates, has long clashed with other factions in the Saudi-backed internationally recognized government, which relocated to Aden after Iran-aligned Houthis captured the capital Sana'a in 2014. Honduran President Xiomara Castro has criticized what she calls tampering in the country's recent general election, accusing US President Donald Trump of attempting to interfere in the vote. The November 30th election is still being finalized, with Trump-backed conservative candidate Nasri Asfura currently holding a narrow lead as officials continue counting ballots. The UK is grappling with an earlier and more intense flu season this year, sparked by the H3N2 strain, often referred to as the superflu. The virus has spread quickly, leading to a significant rise in infections. To control the outbreak, many schools have closed temporarily. At the same time, the National Health Service is facing enormous strain, with NHS teams declaring critical incidents to manage the surge in patients and keep services functioning. France's lower house of parliament has approved a key social security budget bill, delaying a controversial rise in the country's retirement age. The bill passed by 247 votes to 234, suspending President Emmanuel Macron's pension reform until after the 2027 presidential election, as promised by Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu. The reform had proposed raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. This marks a first political victory for Lecornu, who has spent weeks negotiating compromises between centrists, leftists, and conservatives in a fragmented legislature. South Korea's defense ministry has said that North Korea launched several rocket rounds into the Yellow Sea. The rockets were fired towards the northern waters of the peninsula, and South Korean and US intelligence agencies are analyzing their specifications. In response, South Korea's military stated that it is closely monitoring North Korea's activities and maintains strong defense readiness. This incident follows North Korea's earlier missile launch in November, after the US imposed new sanctions on the country. In India, sand extraction from the Konark temple has begun, with an investigation into the strength of the wall. Samples have been sent to IIT Madras for further analysis. A technical team from the core committee conducted an inspection at the Sun Temple, drilling a 16-centimeter hole in the western wall of the Jagmohan, where sand was filled during British rule around 1903. The drilling, done with a non-vibrating drill, was carried out 80 feet above ground level. A special mechanical platform has been constructed by ASI to safely remove the 116-year-old sand from the inner sanctum. Once the work is completed, the Jagmohan Gate will be opened permanently for tourists. In India, the Union Civil Aviation Ministry has ordered budget airline Indigo to reduce its operations by 10%, citing the need to stabilize the airline services. The order follows ongoing issues with passenger inconvenience linked to internal mismanagement of crew rosters and flight schedules. This comes after Indigo CEO Peter Elbers and senior officials were summoned for questioning. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation had earlier cut Indigo's flight schedule by 5%. A live performance at a wildlife park in China took a dangerous turn when a bear appeared to attack its handler. The incident occurred at Hangzhou Safari Park, as shown in audience videos posted on social media. According to the park's announcement, both the handler and the Asian black bear were not injured in the event. Storm Bram has left tens of thousands without power across Ireland. Approximately 25,000 homes, farms and businesses remain in the dark. The entire island was placed under weather advisories after forecasting agencies upgraded warnings on Tuesday, as strong winds brought down trees and caused localized flooding on roads. Gusts reached up to 119 km per hour, with general winds around 78 km per hour at Sherkin Island. And the storm caused significant travel disruption, including 91 flight cancellations at Dublin Airport. Forecasters issued rolling orange wind warnings across different regions as the storm moved across the island, urging residents to exercise caution. Extensive flooding has struck Falls City, Washington, after heavy rainstorm from an atmospheric river. The Snoqualmie River has overflowed, submerging roads, damaging homes, and flooding farmland across the area. Officials are urging residents to stay cautious, avoid floodwaters, and follow instructions from emergency crews responding to the damage. Australia has become the first country to ban social media for children under 16, blocking access to platforms including TikTok, Alphabet's YouTube, and Meta's Instagram and Facebook from midnight. Tens of the budget platforms were ordered to block children from midnight on Wednesday or face fines of up to $33 million under the new law, which drew criticism from major technology companies and free speech advocates, but was welcomed by parents and child advocates. The ban initially covers 10 platforms, but the government said the list would change as new products emerge and young users switch to alternatives. Microsoft has unveiled $23 billion in new artificial intelligence investments, with the bulk earmarked for India, and the US tech giant deepens its bet on one of the world's fastest growing digital markets. CEO Satya Nadella said Microsoft would spend $17.5 billion in India in its largest investment in Asia, building on a $3 billion budget commitment announced earlier this year. The four-year spending plan starts in 2026 and would give Microsoft the largest cloud computing presence in India. Accenture and Anthropic announced an expansion of their partnership through a new business group where around 30,000 of the consulting giant's employees will be trained on the AI startup's Claude model. The tie-up reflects enterprise efforts across industries to upskill their workforce on artificial intelligence technologies as companies look to boost productivity and streamline operations. The move mirrors Accenture's deal with OpenAI announced last week, where it would train hundreds of thousands of its workers on ChatGPT Enterprise and work to integrate the technology into workflows. Asian markets slipped as cautious investor sentiment spread. Japan's Nikkei 225 and South Korea's Kospi dropped modestly, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index and Chinese stock markets slid around more than 0.5% as China's consumer inflation accelerates in November and traders awaited a key interest rate decision from Federal Reserve. Elsewhere in the region, activity was muted, with investors wary of global bond yield moves, and uncertain macro signals out of the US markets are treading carefully as all eyes remain on upcoming US policy cues. A drop in risk sentiment could deepen losses, while a dovish Fed move might reverse the slide. China's consumer price index rose 0.7% year-on-year in November 2025, up from October's 0.2% increase, suggesting a modest rebound in household inflation. However, monthly inflation fell 0.1% versus October's 0.2% rise, hinting at lingering weak consumer demand. Meanwhile, the Producer Price Index, or PPI, plunged 2.2% year-on-year, slightly worse than October's drop, signaling continued price pressure at the factory gates as industrial overcapacity persists. The mixed inflation data, modest retail price growth but deepening wholesale deflation underscore the challenge facing policymakers, reviving consumer demand while preventing further downward pressure on factory output and producer margins. Silver surged past $61 per ounce for the first time ever on Wednesday as traders bet on imminent interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve and grapple with tightening global supply. The rally reflects a perfect storm: historically low physical stockpiles, robust demand from industrial sectors including solar, electronics and EVs, and investors shifting towards precious metals as a safe haven. Analysts warn the metal could stay volatile, consolidating between $57 and $62 in the short term, but potentially climbing further if supply remains constrained and rate cuts proceed. Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko will leave the team after 20 years at the end of 2025. The 82-year-old has been an integral part of Red Bull's success since the team formed in 2005. Marko has overseen the development of 20 drivers, most notably world champions Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. Marko suggested in a statement that Verstappen missing out on a fifth successive title had been a reason for his exit. American actor and playwright Jeremy O. Harris has been released from custody in Japan. The 36-year-old walked free on December 8 after his arrest on suspicion of attempting to smuggle drugs into the country. Harris was detained on November 16 at Okinawa's Naha airport when customs officers found 0.78 grams of crystal containing the synthetic narcotic MDMA in his bag. Local prosecutors have declined to confirm whether he has been charged. Japan has some of the world's toughest drug laws, with severe penalties for possession and smuggling. Welsh football club Wrexham celebrity owners Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have brought in a new US-based private equity partner to support the club's growth. A major stake in their minority ownership has been sold to Apollo Sports Capital. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. Apollo will invest in the redevelopment of Wrexham Stadium and the surrounding area in the Welsh city that shot to global fame after the actors brought the club in 2021 and launched the popular docu-series. Indian superstar Nagarjuna has felicitated Mohanlal for winning the Dada Saheb Phalke Award for his iconic contribution to cinema. Two actors, along with Vijay Sethupathi, came together at an event to promote their respective Bigg Boss shows in Malayalam, Telugu and Tamil, calling him a deserving actor. The stars praised Mohanlal for making a lasting mark on Indian cinema. Nagarjuna and Vijay Sethupathi honored the Lucifer by draping a shawl around his shoulders. Actor Paul Dano is set to star in Bunker, a psychological thriller directed by Oscar-winning filmmaker Florian Zeller. Known for There Will Be Blood and The Batman, he joins a star-studded ensemble led by Javier Bardem, Penelope Cruz and Stephen Graham. Bunker follows the unraveling of a family after a powerful tech mogul commissions a mysterious construction project. The bunker that begins to infiltrate their lives. The film is already being positioned as one of 2026 standout releases. Musician Raul Malo, the frontman of the Grammy-winning band The Mavericks, has died at the age of 60. In September, Malo revealed he was suffering from LMD, a rare complication that occurs when cancer spreads to the membranes surrounding the brain and spinal cord. He was celebrated for blending rock, traditional country, and surf into a unique sound. In their early days, the Mavericks played punk and rock clubs to get their music heard. The music industry is mourning the loss of the acclaimed singer. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching WION World is One.